he did not set up a camera and choose an exposure and choose an aperture and a frame rate. His only additional creativity was making it black and white and inverting, like basically rotoscoping or cutting out the silhouette of the kids. This was creative, but we're going to have a court argument over whether it was minimally creative or not. All right, next we have a really cool copyright transformation story. This is called Plagiarism or Remixing. South African photographer accuses artist of theft. This is the original photograph, this color photograph here, of some South African police or military personnel, it looks like, on the other side of a wall. A barbed wire wall, barbed wire topped corrugated fence wall. And there are some children, and there is contrast here, so I have to point it out. The South African police officers up here are all either white or medium Caucasian skin. Okay, except there are a couple dark-skinned officers in here as well. I didn't see them at first. And then you have a group of dark-skinned children here, and they're doing a walk or a dance or a pose or something. And this is a really neat photograph, really compelling photograph. I really like this photograph. This was photographed by Graeme Williams in Thokoza Township, Johannesburg, 1991. Police watch an ANC rally while children taunt them. So the children are taunting the police officers. Like, the police are just trying to sit there, they're bored. You can see, like, they're adults, they're bored, they're just doing their job. And the children are like, let's find something to do. Let's taunt the police officers. This is an awesome photograph. I really, really like this. This is what an artist did with that photograph. This was the centerpiece of a exhibit that was not authorized by Graeme Williams or whatever his name was. The same photograph appears in the exact same shape and size proportionally. It's been blown up, but nothing has otherwise been transformed in the size. The children have been converted into black and white near silhouettes, and the police officers, the whole rest of the scene even, the police officers and the whole rest of the scene have been converted into a black and white negative. So the police officers appear basically in lighter colors because they were wearing darker clothes, and that appears light in negatives. And the children have been converted to more or less silhouettes, but the silhouettes still have some grayscale definition to them. And that's it. That's the entirety of the transformation. So we went from this to that. Is that transformative? And then, thank you. Marodier gets to the point real quick. Yeah, it's transformative, but is it transformative enough?
Well, okay. So what is the statement being made in the transformation? So the first message, right? What can we infer the message is with the first photograph? Is it just some kids taunting the police at a rally? In the second photograph, that looks like they're trying to paint it as some kind of a sort of like a black and white situation, you know? Like these kids are darker and these police officers are white, and there's something going on there, you know? So what is the message being conveyed by the transformation? Is that also transformative enough to justify a new copyright? Like, what do you think?
I actually agree that it is a meaningful transformation. That it wasn't just... So we've seen transformations before that made things into new works. Let's take example Matt Hoss and H3H3, since everybody knows that one. H3H3 made commentary on Matt Hoss's video. They didn't like certain aspects about it. I'm not going to go into the details. And they thought that there was some social commentary to be made on significant parts of the video. And that was deemed to be a quintessential fair use because they were, one, making criticism, which transformed their copying of the video, and two, there's four factors, but the second major thing about that case was, two, they were not usurping the market for the original work. Would someone buy, or would someone have watched, in their case, watched their video instead of Matt Haas's video? Not because they wanted to get the H3H3 criticism and didn't care about Matt's video, but instead of having to watch Matt's video. Literally, they wanted to watch Matt's video and said, oh no, I saw H3H3 had Matt's video, so I went and watched it there instead. That's market usurpation.
Yeah, and whether or not the audience actually wanted to watch Matt Haas's video, I know that personally, I only watch H3H3's video and not Matt Haas's video.
It doesn't matter when. That's not market usurpation if H3H3 is your channel of choice and you would never have watched Matt Haas's video. That's not market usurpation. Market usurpation would be if either by premeditation or by accident, you would have wanted to watch or have watched, even if you didn't want to, you would have watched Matt Haas's video, except that you saw it on H3H3 first. That's market usurpation. So the part of the market usurpation question becomes then, would someone not purchase Graeme Williams' picture, or would they not license Graeme Williams' picture or whatever because the other artist, Hank Willis Thomas's version? Would they not buy Graeme Williams' version because Hank Willis Thomas's version is this?
I think so. I think that the message being conveyed is different enough, and that the image transforms the message of the image enough that I would see them as two completely different markets. One is a statement about the society in the country, and the other is it's just a picture of some kids taunting some cops. Okay,
but let me argue in reverse. But Thomas, the alleged infringer, the copy or the black and white, he did not set up a camera and choose an exposure and choose an aperture and a frame rate, and he did not choose the equipment, and he did not handle the SD card, and he did not be responsible. It was film back then in 1991. He did not handle the film, and he did not go get it exposed with the proper chemical exposure. Maybe even because sometimes these guys do this. Maybe even what's his face exposed it himself. But he's a photojournalist. They hand it up the chain, and they have a company that does that for them. But the point is that Hank Willis Thomas, the alleged infringer, the black and white copy, did not do any of that. All he did, his only creative input. Now, knowing to do the creative input is half the battle, but it is not part of copyright fair use. What is part of copyright fair use is what is your additional creativity. And his only additional creativity was making it black and white and inverting, like basically rotoscoping or cutting out the silhouette of the kids, and then inverting the background part of it, and then adjusting the levels, basically the black and white levels, or how the image has levels of 0 to 255, and you're going to make it so that your levels of 0 to 255 are a certain range. It compresses them. So that's what we're doing here, is we're compressing the color so that you have a lesser range of grayscale here, and that's all he's done. I could do this to any photo in less than 2 minutes. Aside from maybe the cutting out of the kids was the hardest part. Drawing a selection tool around the outline of the kids was the hardest part. Even then, we have the magnetic lasso tool and smart lasso tool and stuff today in Photoshop. So this was creative, but we're going to have a court argument over whether it was minimally creative or not. And so then the stuff that's protected would really be the minimally creative stuff. So his altering of it is protectable if it is not also copying, if it's not a derivative work. So the question becomes, is this a derivative work, or is this transformation of a fair use nature? Remember, in fair use, we have the purpose and character of the use. We have the nature of the work. These are both commercial works. We have the amount that was copied. The whole work was copied. We have the effect on the work's value or the market usurpation factor, and the purpose and character of the use. So going back to this, we don't have to worry about the nature of the copyrighted work or the amount, where am I here? Or the amount that's copied, because all of it was copied and it's a commercial work. So I feel both of those factors clearly weigh in favor of the original artist. Does the transformation and the market usurpation factors then overcome any bit of favor that we had towards the original artist then? I'm on the fence with this one. I'm really, really, really on the fence with this one. It's a meaningful transformation, but he could have also paid a license fee for the image that he wanted to use. This is pretty much exactly a scenario where you'd want to use a licensed copy of the image instead of assuming fair use. But I can also see the argument in the other direction. So that one's really on the fence for me. Let me know your thoughts. All right, everyone, that's our show. Thank you very much for joining me. I am Leonard French, your favorite copyright attorney. Thank you for joining me for this epic 3-hour and 19-minute live stream. We will post a lot of these stories to our channel this week. It might even have a big long one with the sovereign citizen law student there. I think that's a really cool one. Thank you very much to all of our supporters, especially to our supporters on patreon.com/ljfrench. In September, our $50 plus supporters are Jonathon Doe, John Steele, Gavin Barnard, Eevi, Andy, Kyle Mudrak, Verement, Tayne, Sean McNamara, William Gonzalez, Michael Pearce, Grunkle, Tia Marie, Terry Crisp, Richard Fournier, and Michael Jones. And thank you very much to the 200 plus $5 plus supporters scrolling on the LED panel behind me somewhere back there. There you go. And on the crawl of the videos on demand that drop. So this week we'll drop some of those stories, and next week we'll get to the tree that owns itself and the ninth circuit students that were arrested for so the officer could prove a point. Yeah, that was a pretty epic sovereign citizen case, so I'm looking forward to producing that for stream. All right, I'm going to go get ready for my movie and have a good week learning how to ride my one wheel. All right, everybody, have a good week. Say goodbye to Nico. I am Leonard French, your favorite copyright attorney, and I will see you later. Wonderful boy. Wonderful boy. You're a wonderful boy.